Ask yourself this: how should disruptive kids be dealt with at school?
Well, the federal government says the way they're being dealt with now is not very good all the time. In fact, leaders say schools are too hard on troublemakers. So the Obama administration says suspensions and even arrests for minor problems are just creating more dropouts and more criminals. So now it's urging schools to discipline students without immediately getting the criminal justice system involved. Albuquerque School Board member Stephen Michael Quesada agrees.
In the areas that I grew up with, the guys that I grew up with, instead of having an opportunity to go on to college or to go on to a VOTEC kind of training, guess what? They're in prison, they're in jail.
Now, APS did not want to talk about these guidelines and what they will mean for the district. APS did give us its most recent figures on suspensions, though, telling us more than 1,000 students were suspended during the 2011 to 2012 school year. Well, kids in APS schools will once again be able to go to class without having to go to school.
Superintendent Winston Brooks has signed a one-year agreement with Southwest Secondary Learning Center in Albuquerque. It reinstates a program that will allow APS students to take a variety of online courses. News 13's Samantha McDonald is live in the Newsplex with more. Good morning, Sam.
Good morning, Matt and Elizabeth. Well, imagine you can't complete your classroom coursework because of an illness in the family. That's exactly what happened to this one APS student, and she turned to this online program.
Electromagnetic radiation, what we've talked about so far.
This virtual professor has become a familiar face for 16-year-old Jillian Kime-Malott. She has spent the past 2 years of high school taking online courses through Southwest Learning Centers.
Look, there you go, 94.5%.
But opting out of the classroom wasn't always Jillian's plan. 2 years ago, her older sister Lauren had to go to the ICU for 17 days and nearly died. Jillian chose to stay by Lauren's side.
She was incredible, and she gave it all up for me. In an instant, she dropped everything to take care of me.
But Jillian was still able to keep up with school with the distance learning program.
It allowed me to have the freedom of okay, I can't do it today, but I can do it tomorrow for 6 hours.
She's one of hundreds of students who have taken the online courses every year since 2000. The program was investigated by the New Mexico Public Education Department in 2012 at the request of APS. The audit found no problems with the program except for the need for a written agreement to be in place.
This gives students an opportunity to catch up or get ahead.
And that's exactly what Jillian did. She has finished high school early and will attend college with her sister in the fall.
Both officials from APS and Southwest Learning Center say they expect the reinstatement of this online program to help graduation rates. In fact, data shows that students who take these online courses score 20 percentage points higher than the statewide average on New Mexico's standards-based assessment. Back to you.
That's interesting, Sam. Thank you. Southwest, by the way, is looking to make similar arrangements with other school districts across the state of New Mexico. For more information, head to our website, krqe.com, and click on KRQE links. There is new information about a man who was killed by state police this week in Albuquerque. Torrance County deputies say a man armed with a rifle fired several rounds at deputies and even helicopters on Tuesday at his home near Moriarty. State Police Chief Pete Caseta said when his SWAT team responded, his officers felt the man was a threat.
He was very clear in his intention that if any police officers had gotten any closer, he was going to shoot them. That's what he had told us. Our tactical team's a highly trained unit, and I would only expect that they would shoot their weapons in defense of their life or someone else's.
Again, this all going down in Moriarty. Chief Caseta says one of the SWAT officers shot the suspect once, killing him. They are not releasing his name yet, but yesterday we learned that the suspect had been arrested before. One case involved vandalism. This is the second shooting by state police in a week.
A man who killed his pregnant girlfriend and her father now knows how long he'll be behind bars. And it turns out Marino Leyva got 32 years, not nearly what the families wanted.
Marino, you will think about this every day for the rest of your life. May God have mercy on your soul.
Back in 2009, Marino Leyva here shot and killed his 17-year-old girlfriend, Sarah Lovato, who was 9 months pregnant with their son and her father, Benny Lovato. Leyva was convicted of 2 counts of first-degree murder back in 2010 and sentenced to 63 years in prison, but the state Supreme Court overturned those convictions, ruling a piece of evidence was hearsay. Then Leyva took a plea deal for second-degree murder.
Just trying to tell my story the first time, They took me to trial. I couldn't even speak. I was just having too much stress and anxiety, and I was just too sad to speak. And now all this time I've been holding this in, waiting to speak, waiting for my day. And
once again, yesterday the judge sentenced Mr. Leyba to 32 years. It is the maximum under his plea deal. Well, some middle school students in Sandoval County now know what it's like to get a DWI. From field sobriety tests to being handcuffed by an officer, these kids learned all about the process of what a drunk driver goes through when they get arrested. They even had to be fingerprinted, go before a real judge, and come up with bond money to get out of jail. The kids also heard from a woman who got hurt because a drunk driver slammed into her car.
I think that they're going to go into the classroom, back to the classroom today, and probably just kind of sit there and stare off in space. And hopefully they can start processing everything that they learned today. And I hope that processing and the learning continues throughout, and they don't ever forget this day.
More than 250 students took part in the program yesterday. Organizers hope they'll be able to get more money to teach kids about this and give them that program all across the state.